up here telling you need help and you don't want the help that's walking at the door and knocking like I'm here.
Amid a critical shortage of drivers, New claims the school bus company for BPS is making it harder, not easier, to get hired.
Brittany, how do you feel?
I love my family.
WNBA star Brittany Griner sentenced to 9 years in a Russian prison. What American officials are hoping will bring her back home.
And so really it's an opportunity for us to expand on that.
A big economic boost on the way, but the stakes are high for a local company's expansion on Grand Island.
Buffalo's FOX29 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening. It's the right of the First Student Bus Company to hire or not hire whoever it wants. But tonight, one job applicant says she's confused about a key aspect of the help wanted description. To the Fox Box right now, is no experience necessary? The question seems timely as a bus driver crisis forces Buffalo Public Schools to think way outside the box. Also ahead, missing for 2 years. Tonight, a Buffalo teen's family sets the record straight on all the talk about his disappearance. Plus, declaring monkeypox a national emergency. What does that mean for the response to the virus? And we're about to turn the page to Friday. The weekend is almost here. Let's get the Fox First Forecast with meteorologist Scott Hetzko.
We are tracking some showers and thunderstorms through the overnight. It's not for everybody. It will be muggy for all. We stay in the 70s again overnight. So when you look at the hour by hour, this does not mean it's going to rain at Buffalo every hour. It just means that the potential in the region for rain is out there. All right, so the dog days are biting. We've got more local soakers tonight into Friday. Now, the good news is next week looks a wee bit less sticky. I'll have that forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Over the past several months, we brought you stories about how Buffalo Public Schools are addressing a critical shortage of bus drivers. Just last night, the district announcing it's willing to pay parents to drive their children to and from school as a solution to the shortage. At the same time, the transportation company that works with the district says it's been recruiting new drivers. But one applicant tells us they're not fulfilling promises on the job application and that it's making the problem even worse. Fox Buffalo's Maya Skinner is live to explain now.
I spoke to a parent who applied to be a bus driver for First Student. She tells me the company told her the complete opposite of what they're advertising. While talking to Buffalo parent and pre-K teacher Jasmine Dixon about Buffalo Public Schools' new self-transport option, she told me she knows firsthand the impacts of the bus driver shortage. So Dixon says she decided to apply at First Student to be a driver, but her experience wasn't what she expected.
The interviews were very nice to me, but the thing was to me that what I understood was they were going to train me, you know, once I went through the proceedings of the first part-time view of the interview. They were going to train me, but then 2 days later, it was, no, sorry, Jasmine. We're going to go with somebody who has more experience. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, I'm puzzled. How can you want somebody with more experience when you just said that we're going to willing to train?
Fox Buffalo checked First Student's website, which says no experience necessary and will train. And just last week at a Buffalo Public Schools bus aid hiring event, First Student told us what they were offering bus driver applicants.
A lot of places don't really, you have to pay for your CDL license, and that can be $5,000 and up. With us, we're not only giving you a $3,000 bonus, but we're paying you for training for that. So that kind of, you know, it gets a lot of people for bus drivers.
Dixon says she really wanted the job and says it felt aggravating going through this process.
Nobody should be turned away that's trying to get a job. Nobody. If you're trying to work, you should be able to get a job, especially if they're going to give you, they're going to do it. You know, they're going to help train you. Come on. So it's like you're false advertising. You're up here telling you need help and you don't want the help that's walking at the door and knocking like I'm here.
Adding to Dixon's frustration, the rejection came just days before the district rolled out a survey to parents asking if they'd opt out busing and drive their children to and from school in exchange for gas money. It's one of many options BPS is exploring as they navigate a bus driver shortage. And Michael, I spoke to a first student representative earlier today. He says that they are offering to train new drivers. We asked for a statement to come into Fox Buffalo, but haven't received it yet. Maya Skinner, Fox Buffalo.
All right, Maya, stay on it. Thank you. Another critical shortage the nation is facing as students start a return for a new school year. It's a shortage of teachers. Many districts now wondering if there will be enough of them come day one. Kayla Gaskins joins us from Washington to continue our team coverage tonight.
The nationwide hiring crisis hitting American schools hard.
How do we turn the tide before it becomes a complete disaster?
Before the school bell rings this fall, Des Moines Public Schools in Iowa needs to hire 100 more teachers. Baltimore City needs around 645. Statewide, Nevada needs 3,000.
Where do you get those people? We're trying
to fill in the gaps. Arizona now letting college students instruct children. Florida making it easier for veterans to become teachers, allowing 48 months of active duty to count for 2 years of college.
It's an untapped resource that I think is a great opportunity for us.
In rural Texas, districts switching to 4-day school weeks. In Michigan, some areas offering $10,000 sign-on bonuses. So why does America not have enough teachers? Experts point to low pay, pandemic exhaustion, and politics. Classrooms increasingly becoming ground zero for culture wars over gender, guns, race, and COVID.
I am not leaving.
The education profession losing its appeal for a while.
10 years ago, elementary education, we would receive 300 to 400 applicants. Our last pool was 30 candidates.
The University of North Carolina reporting a 44% drop in education majors from 2010 to 2020.
Four-year colleges are not graduating enough teachers to fill the classrooms.
The staffing crisis crashing down at a time students need their teachers most. Experts estimating it will take 3 to 5 years for American kids to make up for the learning they lost during the pandemic shutdowns. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
The latest now, 2 Buffalo men facing charges tonight accused of making threats referencing the mass shooting at the Tops on Jefferson Avenue. In the first case, the U.S. Attorney's Office says 24-year-old Relique Walker created a Twitter account with the handle Conklin Hero, referring to the hometown of the top suspect. The criminal complaint says Walker used the account to post that he and his associates would target several grocery stores in the Buffalo area and were only looking to kill black people. Investigators say he used an app on a cell phone to try to hide his IP address. The threats happened May 16th, 2 days after a self-proclaimed white supremacist shot and killed 10 people and wounded others at the Tops on Jefferson. The stores referenced in the tweets closed early on that day. And the Erie County District Attorney says 45-year-old Sean Engelman made a reference to the mass shooting as he tried to steal cash from a convenience store on Main Street on May 25th. He's also accused of stealing beer during the incident. Engelman's charges don't qualify to be held on bail. Today marks 2 years since the disappearance of a boy from Buffalo. The 13-year-old was last seen near Broadway and Spears. Family and friends of Jalen Griffin turned out today to remind everyone that the search is not over and to set the record straight.
Jalen's not just out here running the streets the way some people portray, the way some people make stories up. They don't know. He loved being with his family. He has siblings, he has nieces and nephews, and they are a strong-knit family.
They released a lantern earlier tonight to symbolize keeping the light of hope burning as the search continues. Any tips on Jalen's whereabouts can be reported to Buffalo Police. This week, the Niagara County Opioid Task Force updated its strategy to fight the ongoing crisis. One of the challenges in dealing with the problem is overcoming the stigma associated with substance abuse disorder. Fox Buffalo's Kevin Jolly talked with health officials in Niagara County about the problem and how they're trying to reduce the stigma of addiction.
According to the New York Department of Health, Niagara County is one of the highest risk counties in the state for opioid use.
And what that means is per capita, the numbers of individuals who are overdosing or the numbers of individuals who are being treated in emergency departments for opiate-related incidences.
Laura Kellerman heads the Niagara County Department of Health and Substance Abuse Services. She says despite the ranking, there is good news.
In 2022, we're seeing a trending down of our opiate-related incidences. So either fatal or non-fatal incidences are around the levels that we saw in 2019, 2020.
Kellerman says the highest number of opioid cases and fatalities was in 2021, with 513 non-fatal overdoses and 94 fatalities. But now there is a growing concern.
Not great news is that we're seeing an increase in fentanyl in all sorts of substances. So rather than fentanyl just being found in heroin, we're seeing fentanyl contamination in cocaine, we're seeing fentanyl contamination in pills, we're seeing fentanyl contamination in most substances that you might find on the streets.
Kellerman says the pandemic had a major impact on mental health and the increase in substance abuse disorder.
So we're seeing people with increases in depression, increases in anxiety. We're seeing people who, as a means of self-medicating, are engaging in using substances.
She says one of the main goals to help combat the problem is to engage in public awareness campaigns. But one of the biggest hurdles is overcoming the stigma associated with addiction disorders. That's why they've launched Hope Links, a campaign where people dealing with addiction or any personal challenge can stop by the sheriff's tent at the Niagara County Fair and share their journey with others.
On one side, we're asking for the fairgoers to write a challenge they're having in life, such as addiction. And then on the other side, we're asking them to write what they do to get through that challenge, like spirituality.
Kellerman says the messages will then be strung together to create a chain of hope, a visual reminder of how we're all connected in our struggles.
So that individuals who are in our community or in any community can see that and really feel the power of that connection, so that they feel that same hope to be able to transform their lives.
Kevin Jolly, Fox Buffalo.
Women's basketball star Brittany Griner sentenced to years in a Russian prison. What the White House is doing to try to bring her home.
Severe weather kind of surrounding Buffalo the last 24 hours. That was last night. This was today. See what Buffalo gets for Friday in the forecast coming up.
A nationwide public health emergency just declared today on the monkeypox virus. I'm Liz Bonus. What this means and could it help stop the spread? It's just ahead.
At extreme